All right, Michelle, you're on.
Okay. Hello. So I am so happy to see you tonight. I'm glad that you're joining us for our conversation. My name is Michelle Pettis. I am the author of Leaving Large, a food addict's memoir, how I won a 40-year battle over obesity. So if you're here with us on Let's Talk tonight, our conversation is all around stress, finances, and food. The those three things are so intricately intertwined. And our guest tonight, right, author, right, financial expert, financial guru, financial doula.
I love that.
The covers for us, Christyna Giles-Washington. I'm so happy that you're here. For those of you who may be watching Let's Talk for the first time, I want to share just a little bit of my story and why I'm committed to showing up for you, even though it may be the first time, every Sunday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Nice.
So looking at me now, you might not know, or you might not be able to tell. I was once, right, a food addict, a yo-yo dieter, right? I was an experiential eater. I was an emotional eater. I have gained and lost over 700 pounds in my lifetime. And I finally figured out how to make peace between my mind, my body, and food. And people see me now that haven't seen me for a while, or they just haven't seen me and they don't know about this transformation. They always ask me, "Oh my God, what did you do?" Right? What did you do? And I want to say the truth, right? And the truth is, it wasn't just one thing. It was multiple things. It was multiple things that I learned from multiple people, that I learned from looking at other people and watching their stories of transformation.
It's live.
It's live. That's right. It's live. Watching their stories of transformation. And I and that's why I bring different people on Let's Talk every Sunday night. Different people talking about the different things that food's connected to. Food is connected to grief. We had the conversation last week. If you missed it, you want to check out the I Am Brand New Now YouTube channel and check out that conversation. Food is connected to our relationships, right? Whether they're familiar family relationships or whether they're love relationships. Again, we did a great show on food, our exes, and stress. That was a couple of weeks ago, also on the YouTube channel. If you don't want to check out I Am Brand New Now on YouTube, you can join my Facebook group. All right, you can join the Facebook group, which is also I Am Brand New Now, right? Or you can, if you don't want to do any of that and you just want to, check out what's going on, you can follow me. You can follow me on Instagram, also at I am Brand New Now. But here's what I'm committed to doing, and here's what my guests are committed to doing. Here's what Colleen Meyer, our wonderful moderator and producer, is committed to doing. We're committed to bringing you truth, right? We're committed to bringing you truth every week about how managing food and managing food correctly can change your life. It can change your life and give you more peace, more pride, more power, more confidence, more freedom, more joy than you ever thought imaginable. And tonight, we're going to talk about, here's what I'm going to tell you what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the connection, right, between food and our finances. We're going to talk about the connection between being fiscally responsible and physically responsible, right? And if we have enough time, I'll tell you some of my stuff that I'm not that proud of, but that's okay. But that's okay. So you've heard enough from me tonight. I want to turn the floor over to Christyna. I'm so happy that you're here, my sister from the other side, and we're ready to jump right into it. We're ready to jump right into it tonight.
Well, I am just very excited. First of all, I'm very excited for your journey, what it took for you to get here. I'm excited for your journey and how you are, like you said, committed to making sure that everyone that you bring to your space and your platform is as committed to the healing and the help of people. And so I really, really thank you. It aligns with everything that aligns in my body. So I'm very, very, very excited to be here. This for me is absolutely necessary on every level, because coming out of COVID, I am seeing so many clients that are itching, biting at the, they're chomping at the bit to be able to spend their money. We are doing this recording on a 3-day weekend, or we're live, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone is bombarded and has been bombarded with sales and specials and all kinds of things, on top of the gas prices have gone up. The food prices have gone up. Everything has gone up. So it's a perfect storm, because you're speaking to the physical, my physical body, how the expanding of my physical body may have happened during COVID because of fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking to the fiscal expansion, because, our purse strings rather, our wallets, our pocketbooks, whatever you carry your money in, our phones, for some of us, it's our go-to to satiate.
Yes.
It's our go-to to make us feel better. It's our go-to to flex, And if we don't have a good handle on it, what I often say is, I can tell what you love when I look at your bank statements.
Mm-hmm.
So, before the show started, you and I were talking, and you were talking about, hey, if I could go back and grab every $15 martini and multiply that by 6% over 30 years, what would that look like? And the first thing I said is your 401k. because realistically, we don't see the way that not only how we show up in the world. Number one, I'm looking like, I'm on Jamaican Island right now. Y'all got to deal with that. But I don't approach finances any other way. I approach finances as if I'm on a Jamaican island and I want you there too.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the steps that we're going to have to take to get there?
Mm-hmm.
Most people look at it the exact same way they look at their physical journey for their physical body. If you want weight loss, you have to set a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've been understanding from not only following you, but listening to you, joining in the groups and everything to familiarize myself with your message, is we have to make choices. And I always say we have to make self-honoring choices.
Oh, yes.
Self-honoring choices.
Yes.
In addition, we have to make choices that are measurable. So in the financial world, it's the same. If you have a goal for a Jamaican vacation, for a Hawaiian vacation, for a new car, a new house, college tuition, whatever it is, the benefit to you is setting a goal that's measurable. Mm-hmm. Now, the same exact way in weight loss, when I say something like that, you think restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
It is not true. Mm-hmm. The same way in weight loss, it's just better choices.
It's freedom. It's ultimately freedom.
Absolutely.
When we can see, it's the principles are the same. You're so right, Christyna, whether you're talking about food or whether you're talking about finances, is that, we get in trouble with food when we're only thinking about the moment. Yes. What do I want to eat right now? What's going to be pleasurable to me right now, right? And that's what I'm going to have. The same thing with money. I know, because as much as I say I was a food addict and a yo-yo dieter, right? Mm-hmm. There was a point, clearly with all those martinis, and going out to eat and all the retail therapy I did. So if I'm going to back when Lord and Taylor was still around, yeah. I remember this so clearly. I went, and it was right across the street from my job. The bar was right across the street from my job. Mm-hmm. I go in there. They had these really cute suede skirts, silk blouses. It was the 90s.
Yeah.
It was the 90s, right?
Yeah.
I bought it And what is this? I bought it in blue, like a royal blue. I bought it in red. I bought it in coral. I bought it in tan. The same thing. The monochromatic.
Mhm.
Why was I buying all those colors, right? And at the time, I was probably maybe a 22 or something like that, right?
Mhm.
I still wanted to look good, but just like the food, the clothes and the food were trying to fill something
Mhm.
that clothes and food could not fill.
Well, I want to give you a little grace,
Okay.
and anyone who's out there who does this, because I had an aunt who would do just what you're describing. She would buy whatever shoe she liked that was comfortable for her in every color that was available. And her reasoning was because she wore a size 11, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you just said that you were a 22.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I know for sure is it is not always easy to find something in your size when you are carrying extra weight that feels good, looks good, makes you arch your back and all that.
Right.
So giving you a little grace, that's why you did it.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for
Okay.
that.
Now, the financial person in me
Mm-hmm.
says, now, how could we have done that better?
Yeah.
Because honestly, we could have applying 2020 rules to a 1990s situation.
Mm-hmm.
Purchase two. What are your two most fabulous colors that you look the best in that was monochromatic? And then we're going to make sure that we grab a jacket so that we can interplay with those things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to wait until it goes on sale.
Yeah.
And we're going to buy the other colors.
Yeah.
Okay. Because one of the things, if you ever work with me, you will know I do not restrict you. That is not why I'm here. That is not what I want to do. I want to show you how to apply your money better. Because one of the things that, I often say, and now I'm in a different office, we just started another business. We want you to control everything and own nothing.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes.
our psychological and all the things that come in at us tell us that we are nothing if we own nothing.
Right.
But power players know that you own nothing and you control everything.
Right. Right.
Every power player out there knows that they are a business. So Michelle, one of the things I'm going to say this on live television, the first thing that I want to make sure of is that I Am Brand New Now is a business that stands on its own, that runs as its own, that has its own whatever. I can say EIN number or whatever, but it's its own,
Mm-hmm.
because that identity over there has nothing to do with Michelle.
Yes. Yes.
So Michelle doesn't have to find value in I Am Brand New Now. However, Michelle is I Am Brand New Now.
Mm-hmm.
So when Michelle shows up, she has to be on. She has to feel good. She has to own it. But I Am Brand New Now don't own her.
Right. Right. It's like I am my own brand.
Yes.
That's what we talked about last week when I was speaking, with Nabo. It's like how you're who, right?
Yes.
It's like you're who you are. Your who is your brand.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the value that I Am Brand New Now brings from a monetary perspective isn't what fills you up.
Right. Right.
And I think that that's where, just like trying to fill yourself up with food, and it really comes down to numbing.
Mm-hmm.
And what you'll notice is, I'm a very physical and very demonstrative kind of speaker, because it is all how it resonates in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So if food smells good first, that's going to draw you in. It is truly the same with our eye gate. So since we have an ear gate so we can hear, we have an eye gate so we can see, and we have a mouth gate so we can speak and or taste.
Mm-hmm.
The ear gate, from a commercial standpoint, tells you that you are nothing if you don't look like this, if you don't have this, if you don't sound like this, if you don't walk like this, if you don't drive like this. That's what comes in your ear. Then
If
it's
you don't eat this,
reinforced.
if you don't serve this, if you don't,
Right.
right, yeah. If you don't
But
go
then
here to eat, if you don't go to this restaurant.
I'm in 100% agreement because it's reinforced through the eye.
Mm-hmm.
So what you just said, if you don't go to this restaurant, so we're dovetailing how the two work together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to show up looking like this, driving this car with this amount of money at this restaurant. I have to know what escargot is, even though I ain't never seen it except for in my yard.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
have to know what foie gras is,
Mm-hmm.
even though I don't, but because I'm trying to put on this facade.
Right, right.
And then if I get caught, now I'm like, oh man. And that's where the emotional eating comes in, and that's where the emotional spending comes in. Because that open wound has been exposed.
Yeah.
So if you are and again, I can say, and I'll be very frank on this one. Those of you out there that got those PPP loans and didn't have a business, or got the PPP loans and, you're wondering what is going to happen, I can tell you, you ate that money. I know you did. And I am not saying that you ate that money from the perspective of, now I've gained weight. No, you ate that money because you went everywhere that Michelle just said. You went to Spago if you're in LA because you ain't never been there before. I take it back because Spago's too old. Spago's from the 90s. You probably went to Mastro's, maybe not even there because you're looking at videos and you're trying to follow the trends. So maybe you went to, let me think, what's trending? But you understand where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
Because all of a sudden you had what you didn't have before.
Mm-hmm.
And it gave you the ability to go places that you had never gone before.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you filled yourself up, or you took a vacation to a place that you had never been before.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're talking about right now is the indulgence. It's the indulgence because when you eat, at least for me, if I eat something, quote, decadent, unquote, I can only have a little bit of it because it's so rich.
Mm-hmm.
It's so flavorful. It's so, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's me. But if you're wounded in that area,
you can't get enough of it.
Yeah, you're going to keep filling your mouth with it.
You can't get enough of it. Yes, absolutely. That is so very true. And I will tell you, Christyna, that one of the kind of the eye opener for me along this journey actually happened when in 2008 when the economy crashed, and when the real estate bubble bust. So did I, right? The job went away, the car went away, the houses went away. All that's I was decimated for it. That was the only word, not a lack of a better word. That was the word. But in some ways, I can sit here tonight and say that was one of the best. 2008 was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Although it didn't feel like it at the time, but now as I look back on it, and because 2008 happened to me, I was able to recognize the opportunity in the pandemic, and not let that get past me in terms of what to find a transformation in it, because truly 2008 transformed me because it had to, right? Because when the money went away, the ability to go out to eat, and when I lost my car, right, that meant I had to start walking, right? I had to start walking. I started losing weight. I was walking. I wasn't around other people. I had to start going inside myself. I had to start evaluating my own values, right? I started eating at home. I started to, kind of like get back to basics, and realize, because when it first happened, my plea, my cry, my prayer was, oh, I want my old life back. Oh my God. I mean, what is the point of going through something to
Yeah.
go back to
Yeah.
where we were? There's no point in it.
Yeah.
So the fact that I went through that and started to see something better on the other side, right?
Yep.
Was transformational. But for 2008, we wouldn't be here right now having this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But for 2008, I wouldn't have been able to lose the weight and keep it off because
Mm-hmm.
that's when it started. That's when the journey in earnest
Mm-hmm.
started. Even though it took me to 10 years to really get it, right? To really
Mm-hmm.
understand it. But
Mm-hmm.
it started then. It started then with the consciousness, right? With the consciousness. And what I talk about was that, my problem, and I think a lot of people in the same space, is I was eating too much of the wrong things for the wrong reasons, and I was doing it unconsciously. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe in my heart of hearts, Christina, that we can say that about our finances is
Mm-hmm.
that we're spending too much of our hard-earned money on the wrong thing, the wrong amount, for the wrong reasons, and we often do it unconsciously. The same thing can apply to money.
The through line in what you just said is all the way through to the finances. But when you were speaking, I was thinking about something, and the train has gone and it'll have to come back around. But yes, the through line into the finances is absolutely accurate. But I'm often, and like I said to you earlier, I want to give grace because when we find ourselves, it's my experience that when we find ourselves humming along in our lives and the money is right and everything is happy and there's no problems, um, it's okay to have that extra bag. It's okay to have that extra, steak this week because you said that we're eating the wrong things. The title for today's episode is about stress and your finances and the food. So when you find yourself stressed, you do mindless things because stress automatically, physiologically, chemical balanced, all of it disconnects your brain. You just go on autopilot, you turn off, you're just doing whatever you can do to anesthetize. So I'm going to go and reference my boy. Let him rest in power, his purple highness himself, Prince. He wrote a song about Anastasia. If you understand, he was saying, Anesthesia, Anesthesia, come to me,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge me. He's saying, make it where he's numb.
Yes, yes.
And the food makes you numb. I don't
Yep.
care what you say. So if you eat a bag of potato chips and you reached your hand in just to get one, and this is where finance dovetails real quick. If you, as a food specialist, tells your client to go and get proportion size. See, look, I got my prop here. Okay. This is a prop. Why? Wait, there it is. This is a prop because it's a bag. One time use. When you're done, you eat it, you throw it away. It tells you exactly how many calories, 100 calories, right? From a financial perspective, that sucks. Do you know why? Because it's way cheaper for you to get the bag than it is for you to get the individually wrapped.
Yeah.
But here's the disconnect. You get the bag on a bad day and you act like it's this bag.
Right.
And you eat straight through the bag.
Right.
Because you're trying to anesthetize, stop the pain, stop the stress, stop whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And if we understand, because you made reference of good versus bad, if we understand bad eating habits, most of the things that are bad sometimes play as good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, no question. Yes.
It
Yeah.
plays as good. It
Mhm.
says, oh, hey, I'm only this or I'm only that. Well, I can tell you, I really like this, but I know I like it.
Mhm.
It's 100 calories and it has salt. And
Mhm.
salt makes me want more.
Mhm.
And if I don't do the right thing and grab a thing of water, which is what I have,
Mhm.
to go with it, I might get another bag,
Mhm.
which just defeated the purpose of buying the individual bag.
Mhm. Right.
So now it becomes a financial burden
Mhm.
because I'm adding more to, and I'm not a big, like, I love the Budgetnista. I think she's awesome. I think she's amazing, but I'm not her.
Mhm.
I am not into you telling me or me telling you that you need to budget this out and do this and do that and do this. Common sense and logically, I'm going to do some things with you that are going to help you stay on track.
Mhm.
But I've got to give you room when you jump off the deep end into double bagging your popcorn. You know?
So I wanted to tell you like a quick popcorn story, and it's all I think it's all connected. And one of the things that I talk about is how we connect food to certain experiences, and it is our desire to relive the experience and the feeling we got from that experience that leads us down the food road because we get them confused.
Mhm.
So I remember when I was a kid going to see Mary Poppins.
Mm.
And my aunt in California, as a matter of fact, took me to see Mary Poppins. And we had dinner before we went to see Mary Poppins. And this might have been the very first movie I'd ever seen, very first movie experience. I'm not sure,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
if it wasn't the first, it was one of the first. And we got there, and everybody was in line getting the popcorn and the big almond, big
Mhm.
candy, and all of that. And I'm
Mhm.
like, well, we're going to the movies. Let's get some popcorn. And my aunt was like, "You're not hungry. We've already eaten."
Mhm.
So we went in to see the movie minus the popcorn. Well, the message I got from that wasn't "You're not hungry. We've already eaten." The message that I got was these people over here are having a chance to have a fuller experience than
Mhm.
I have.
Mhm.
Here I'm being deprived of
Mhm.
this thing. So there was some jealousy that
Mhm.
was involved.
Mhm. Mhm.
So fast forward. So I'm like in the movie theater, and I'm talking about the popcorn. Mary Poppins is on, and my aunt's like, "You're not hungry," but I'm like, "Other people have popcorn. Why are you doing this to me?" All this, right? Later on, we go to, and my aunt was really talk about being a budgetnista. She was no joke, right? So, so we go to the movies again. She pops popcorn and brings it, right? I eat,
Yeah.
she pops popcorn and brings it to the thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We go to the movies, and I'm like, "We have popcorn." She's, "You don't need that popcorn. I have popcorn in the purse." Well, what she didn't realize is that it was not about the popcorn for me. It wasn't about the food.
Mhm.
It was about the idea of being able to stand in line like everybody else. It was about the bucket. It was about that stuff that came out of the machine that wasn't even really butter.
Yeah.
It was about
Oil.
it was about doing what everybody else was doing, having that movie experience, not the popcorn. And I didn't want the popcorn. The popcorn in her purse was probably better. It
Right.
probably tastes better, but it was not.
Right.
But it was not that experience.
So
So, mhm,
I just want you to put a pin because I want to make sure that everybody clearly understands what is being said. What is being said is at first she thought it was the experience, the movie experience. But realistically, it was the everybody else experience. Okay. And that is very important to separate the two because that's what gets us in financial trouble.
and food trouble. And
Yes.
when you go out to eat, everybody.
Yes.
I'm on a program. Everybody else is having dessert, but I've just eaten. I'm full. But everybody else is having dessert. I don't want to feel deprived. So
Right.
we have to change. We have to change what food means, just like we
Exactly.
have to change what money means to us.
Exactly.
They're both just tools. They're
Tools.
both
Thank
just
you.
means to an end. And
Yes.
so we treat them both like they're the end themselves. So we
Yes.
make our food choices. We should make our food choices. All right, I'm choosing this food because ultimately I want to show up in the world like this. I
Yes.
want my body to look like this. I want to feel like this. Therefore, I make this choice in food. The same thing with money. I spend, and tell me, I know you're the money person, but I spend my money in this way
Mhm.
because I want to have this kind of life.
That's right.
I want to have this kind of freedom. I don't want to be tied to a job. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to.
Man, I literally just had this conversation with a gentleman in my life.
Mhm.
And a text came through my phone, and it was my girlfriend saying, "Hey, look, I can't go to Aruba. Do you want to go? I already have a 2-bedroom and it's already booked. All you have to do is get there, and I'm going to only charge you $300 a night." Now, I look at the companion and I say, "Dude, we should roll." Okay. The response to me was, "Well, you have this and you can do that." He is high in his position. I mean, he's like at the top of the food chain. There's nobody above him, which in my mind, people, means he has all the freedom in the world.
Right.
Because he just tells his underlings what to do, where to do, how to do, what to do, where to do, how to do, and they do it.
Mm-hmm.
When he looked to me and said, "You have all the time in the world," and blah, 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 I literally responded, "I created my life like that. I sacrificed to be able to sit here on 5:30 at 4:30 in the afternoon after coming off the boat that my brother owns yesterday and was spending time with him, to be able at 4:32 p.m. Pacific sit here and give you my time and not freak out and say, 'Oh my God, I got so much work to do. Oh, wait, help.'" And to respond to my girlfriend and say, "You know what? I might take my daughter." Now, those are choices that I made in the past that are flowers now. Those
Mm-hmm.
things from the past, they are flowers today.
Right.
And a lot of things that dovetail in this fiscal responsibility and physical responsibility have to do with patience.
Yes.
And today is Sunday, so I'm going to take full liberty and tell you that the word says, let patience have its perfect work in you.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to apply that in the same way whenever we're on this goal, that we're not doing it for the outside man, we're doing it for the inside man.
Yes.
And so when I said before, we got to stop and separate. It was not the experience of the movie. It was the people experience.
Yeah.
To be like them.
Mm-hmm.
I have a young person who just came to me. They want a Tesla, like everyone in California. What I asked was, for what reason? Because if I know why you want it, I can get it for you a lot quicker because I know how we're going to do it. Now, what do I mean by that? If you tell me that you want the Tesla because that's the car that you want, we've been car shopping for a while, Christyna, I want the Tesla. I think it's going to be great because gas prices are going up, because, the maintenance is zero, blah, 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 blah. That's amazing. I'm so with you, because if you do work with me, if you know anything about me, you are not going to buy a new car. That's just not what we do. I think it's stupid. I think that it's the commercialization of the world to where they want you to be like them. So we're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is I have friends, we're going to call them, they're car dealers and car brokers, and they're going to search nationwide for the car that you want. So if you tell me that you want an S model, that you want an X, that you want whatever you want, the Y, we're going to get you that. We're going to look for your color, but you're not getting new because you already told me why you wanted it. You want it because it's going to save on gas. It's going to, your reasons were practical. This is my little 27-year-old who thinks that they are balling out of control and they have all the money in the world, and they want the Tesla because It's Tesla season in LA. So my question is, how much research did you do? Do you know that off the lot, if you get the S, it's like starting at 70 and you make 42? Where are we going to fill that gap in at? Like 42 and 70. And do you own a home? Let's start there. I don't even care if it's a house standalone or if it's a condo. I don't care. But do you own it? Or better yet, because I'm teaching a lot of people now, you don't need to own the space that you live in. You buy it, let somebody else pay it, and you go live where you want. But that's a story for another time.
Mm-hmm.
I bring that to your attention and the audience's attention because the more that we seek to please others, the more we cave in and we are depleted and we are not pleasing ourselves. Because even though it's Tesla season, let me tell you what I said I wanted. I was like, man, has anybody seen the new Ford F-150 electric? Man, it's a truck.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I said I wanted it is because all of a sudden, the COVID made me think I'm a gardener and I need to haul stuff around. So my backyard, I got greens growing. I'm trying to grow tomatoes again.
Yeah.
And, I need to haul this stuff around.
Mm-hmm.
But that F-150 truck is boss. I love it. It's amazing. And to me, I'm like, if I do black on black, I can take it to speaking engagements. I could do whatever. Because, you get out of a clean truck. It's a clean truck. Who cares? Right? So how do we parallel that with eating? Well, for younger people in this person's age range, the Tesla equals wealth. And I say wealth, but I tell my young people, it means you're rich. Because anyone who works with me, who knows me, they know wealth is silent.
Mm-hmm.
Rich is brass. Rich is where you show off and you pop in and woo woo and all that. Wealth, you might have run over shoes on. Mm-hmm. But when I check that bank account, it got 5 zeros, 6 zeros, or 7 zeros.
Mm-hmm.
And if I say, hey, do you want to go to Aruba? You don't blink. Mm-hmm. You just go. Mm-hmm. So how does that play over in our food and the stress? What I'm talking about is the stress of the outside. And the stress makes diamonds, but we got to go through understanding and changing our mindset and relationship to it.
So let me speak to the stress in food for just a moment. So in reality, what stress is a response to situations where we feel like we don't have any control. Mm-hmm. Where we feel like we're helpless, where we don't know the answers, right? And so that's uncomfortable, that's painful. Mm-hmm. And so oftentimes we unconsciously, a lot of times, turn to food to help manage that discomfort, that pain, right? To mask it. And what happens in that process is because we're numb, right? We're numb to the discomfort, we're numb to the pain. We don't have to come up with an answer.
There it is.
Come up with a solution. So we end up in that quagmire longer because we've delayed it and we've masked it. Mm-hmm. And so we have to really spend some time and understand, there's nothing wrong with being uncomfortable. There's nothing wrong with not having the answer. There's nothing wrong with being confused. There's nothing wrong with experiencing pain because pain and pleasure are both part of life.
Yes.
But when we work through it, right? We're so used to, I got to do something. I got to, right? If we just sit with it, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's painful, even if it's confusing, just sit with it for a while. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Be okay with just sitting with it and not knowing the answer, right? Not just sit with that. And when we sit with it out of necessity, our subconscious will go to work to find answers for us if we will let it. But
Mhm.
we use all these external things rather than going inside. We use the external trying to get to it. When it's all we got the answers. We got the answers if we will just access them. If
Yeah.
we will allow ourselves to access them.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that that is a sign of maturity. And if you go back and think about what your parents, I'm going to just say what Black mamas would say, which is go over there and sit down.
Yes.
Okay. You start talking to your mom and you speaking nonsense, and she just tell you straight up, go sit down.
Mhm.
She doesn't even entertain what you're talking about.
Right.
She just tells you, go sit down.
Mhm.
And when you sit down, all of a sudden, you calm down.
Mhm.
And I say the same thing when people call me ready to make an impulse buy. Because impulsive eating and impulsive buying are the same. And
Yes.
the dopamine that they release is the same because you're getting euphoria. So, when people say, well, what do you do? And I tell them, I'm a transformational specialist, blah, blah, blah. I make all these things up because I don't want to tell people that I am in the finance game. So when you wrote down, or when you said financial doula, I wrote it down because helping people birth their financial dreams is really what I do. But I am not doing it from the perspective of what's your budget? How much do you make? Because what I know for sure, and what, again, I'm not on the page of the budgetista. I'm not hating on her. I'm not doing any of that. In fact, I'm exalting her right now in this minute for her to be able to say that on a $30,000 salary, she was able to save over $100,000 in 2 years because she recognized what her goal was.
Mhm.
She also recognized what her needs versus her wants were.
Oh.
Okay.
Yes.
So when we're on a weight loss journey, we need to understand what our needs are and what our wants are. If your want is you want to wear a particular outfit, for all of y'all getting married next month, trying to squeeze into your dress because you don't want them to let it out, your need versus your want, right? Because realistically, and I'm not bursting any bubbles or anything, I say 2 days from today is June 1. If you haven't hit your number between now and whatever day between now and June 30th, realistically, because I and this is your world, Michelle, so let's help me out. I understand 2 pounds per week is the healthy, normal way to manifest weight loss. Am I correct?
You know what? It depends on your starting point.
Okay.
It depends on your starting point. If you're the further away you are from your goal, the more quickly you will lose weight initially.
Okay, but I'm speaking to the woman who is potentially getting married in these 32 days. Somewhere in these 32 days.
Yeah.
I'm believing she's real close to her goal weight. And I don't want to burst any bubbles.
Right.
But I want to make sure that you understand.
Yeah, you're not losing 30 pounds between now and June 30th.
It's not happening.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, it is so much easier because we're talking about stress, finances, and food. It's so much easier for you to budget in your tailor expenses. Because what will happen is you're going to be stressed even more because you can't fit into that dress the way you want it to.
Right.
And you're probably going to eat more of the wrong things, like sitting in front of the TV with your bridesmaids, pissed off, eating ice cream, which is going to make you not fit into the dress even more, which is going to send you deeper into the cycle. But if we can go ahead and say, guess what, sis? Let's wrap this one.
Mm-hmm.
Have the tailor, you know, cinch it, leave it, do whatever,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not about that. And by us assigning the wrong feelings to the wrong things, your feelings should be going towards the marriage,
Yes. Yeah.
not towards what you look like showing up to the marriage. And I know that's counterintuitive. Don't write me no letters, don't send me no text. Just hear me out.
Right. Right. Right.
Because and I'm going to plug right now. In this book, this book,
Oh, please plug. Plug.
well, this book, I asked the question, who is your representative? I asked that question because that's our biggest thing. Like in my past, you guys, and you, I mean, you can say whatever you want. I'm so over a lot of things, but I would have never shown up like this. I would have been fully coiffed. I would probably have a pussy tie right here and be so like amazingly professional and stiff. And yes, Michelle, if you, because that's how I grew up in the business.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that anymore. I went through a very, what for some it's not trauma, it's just release, but I went through a very traumatic release in the form of divorce. In the form of divorce, I had so many tied ideas on what it should look like, how it should be, that I was in the marriage, but I wasn't in the marriage.
Ah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we had everything. We had 3 cars, we had five houses. We had, we had all that.
Mm-hmm. All the
We looked really good. Like we're both chocolate and the whole 9 yards. But looking back now, 5 years removed, I am more comfortable with the failure of that than I would have ever been had I had the same mindset around it.
Mm.
Because I attached success to being married, having children, having a career, blah, 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 blah. Baby, that ain't success. That is not success. So one of my little acronyms is FAIL stands for freely acquiring intentional learning. And I failed hard and I love it.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy.
You know what, Christyna, what you just said, what you just shared, what it brought up for me was that sometimes it takes living through or getting what you don't want to figure out what you do want. And that don't want space becomes so important, and it becomes something that you're grateful for, because had you not gone through, had we not, if we don't go through this phase of, oh Lord, I don't ever want to do this again, you don't know. You don't have any sort of frame of reference, right? No. And so to be able to do that and get it, and I think that, didn't we talk about this our last conversation? It's either you're good or preparation for your good.
Yeah, you're good or better. You're good or better.
You're good or better.
Yeah,
right?
Good or better.
And both of those things, both
are phenomenal.
Both of those things are good, but we have to recognize them for what they are. We have to honor them for what they are. I mean, all of that. And girl, we're getting close to our hour, and I want to make sure that if anybody is watching, whoever you're watching, if you have questions, please put it in the chat. And I didn't say this earlier. Share this with anybody you think might need it. But I mean, really, here's an opportunity. We have a few more minutes, and Christyna is here to answer any sort of questions you have about your finances. I won't ask any sort of questions about about food and finances, because I don't know, crawled my way through them both. And the reality is, and I said earlier, I think I said earlier, one of the reasons that I like for us to have these conversations on Sunday night is to share, right? And people ask me so many times, what did you do to lose weight? How did we have to lift one another up.
Mhm.
And what I did religiously, and it was so much a part of my process, was every day I read other people's stories. Every day I looked at other people's before and after pictures. But that helped fill me up. And
Mhm.
so I just make the assumption that everybody's like me, right? But you might not know it. So we come here on Sunday nights so you can get filled up. So you can get filled up from other people's stories,
Mhm.
whether it about whatever connection you're making about food and family, relationships, finances, grief, stress, whatever it is, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna pull the covers back, and you're going to be able to reach out. Christine, I want you to give your information, so if anybody wants to reach out to you directly, we want them to be able to have access to you.
Sure.
We want them to be able to get your book, right? We want all of that,
All of it.
because we because we are here for one another, right?
Right.
That.
And I just want to say on that page, one of the things that was lost and is now being found, I guess, is that we are community. And while we utilize all of these electronics to create community, at the end of the day, it's this. It's live. Even though this is electronic, it's live. And so if you are available and have questions or whatever, just please put it in there, because I'm pretty good on the quick and keep it right to you. And one of the things that I think also is coming up more so is honesty. Like, we don't all have it together. Just because I have a sign, just because I have a book, doesn't mean that I didn't have to crawl out of something in order to produce these things.
Right.
So, the influencers and the influence of TikTok, Instagram, all that, YouTube and whatnot, please don't get fooled into thinking that it doesn't take something to do that. Because we're past, and this goes back to investing, we are past the initial public offering. Okay? So if we're talking about you being the brand, your initial public offering is when you show up the very first time that we meet you, that's your initial public offering. That's what you are coming with, however you are. But do you know that after the IPO goes out, that means the company now has enough money to make all the adjustments? They didn't have the money before they showed up with the IPO. The IPO is designed to raise money. So I challenge you, if you are looking to be financially brand new, hey, I'm borrowing your stuff right now. If you're looking to be physically brand new, look at it from that perspective. What is your initial public offering? I am 215 pounds. I show up there. Now, how are we going to put everybody around us, meet at I Am Brand New Now Facebook pages, get information, get some good stuff to make the adjustments after our initial public offering? Because you may be fooled into believing that these Instagram people look the way that they look, sound the way that they sound, lost the weight that they say they lost after 2 days of putting cream under their breasts and wrapping it in cellophane. Okay? Because I know some of y'all is out there wrapping yourself in cellophane with Vaseline on and going to sleep and thinking that you're going to lose weight tomorrow because some chick on Instagram told you she did it. Or better yet, maybe you jumped on one of these. Oh, I look at, I don't know, there's so many out there, I can't even name anybody. And you saw your money go up. But in the money game, what goes up must come down. Unless you understand, I can I can say top line revenue. I could say all the little fancy things. And I don't know if you'd understand that, but top line revenue of a company actually tells you what they're making and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, everything is mindset.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, everything is self-honoring choice. At the end of the day, everything is presenting you back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Back to you. I've given you my time. Michelle's giving you her time, but we got to, at the end of this, decompress and present ourselves back to ourselves so that we can live to do it again the next day.
Mm-hmm.
If you do not recognize that within yourself, that's where the disconnect is. So when you make the initial public offering and you don't have nothing to back it up with, that's where you fail in your diet. Mm-hmm. That's where you fail in your financial strategic plan. Mm-hmm. And that's why she just said community is important. Mm-hmm. It's extremely important.
And what you said that really resonated with me, Christyna, in these last minutes is you talked about time, right? And self-honoring choices. And the reality is, whether it is our finances, whether it's food, is however we manage anything, right?
It's how we manage everything.
It's how we manage everything. But what it is consistency over time. It is consistency over time. And it doesn't have to be big jumps. It's just incremental steps. It's just a little bit. It is grooving the habit. Yes. So we start off saving or investing, or just say start off saving $10 a week, right? Just saving $10 a week.
The Starbucks fast, people.
You can save 10, you can save 15. If you save 15, you can save 20, right? Now that you have grooved the habit, now you can just flip that to investing. Because now you grew that. Now you can kick it up. Now you can invest. Now you can invest and save. Just do it automatically where you don't even see the money. The same thing with eating. Same thing with our eating habits. We don't have to do everything all the time, all at one time. We don't have to work out 7 days a week. We don't have to drink all the water all at one time. We don't have to sleep all the one. We don't have to cut out all the sugar. Pick one thing. Mm-hmm. Pick one thing. And start grooving, make one change, because the power is in the change. That's where the power is. The power is being committed to doing something different. The power is in the disruption, right? Mm-hmm. So you disrupt and you build that disruptive muscle. Mm-hmm. And then you disrupt in one area, you disrupt in your finances, you disrupt in your food, you can disrupt in your community, right? Mm-hmm. You can disrupt in your career just by doing it in one place. You can just completely change your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're so right. You are so right. I say I have two. I'll leave it with two things.
Okay.
One, my old chiropractor, he's still my chiropractor. On his wall, it says, the healing is in the hold. And if you understand chiropractic, you understand that when they do an adjustment, they want it to hold. So the healing is in the hold. So what Michelle just shared with you, that's where the healing is. The second is, if you can just do 1 inch. I talk about Tom Brady and how they won the Super Bowl. I think it was 2018, 2019 Super Bowl. They won it by 1 inch. Dude stretched with the ball. And that's how they won it. So if you could go 1 inch in all directions of your life, 1 inch, people, 1 inch, that could be one less coffee. Now, from a financial side, I ask you for one less coffee if you're a coffee drinker every week and if you go to Starbucks. Why? Because on average, you've been sucked into the whole caramel macchiato, cuckoo, cuckoo, lala, lada, 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 lada. That starts at $5 for a tall. So if I could get you to just give me one $5, that's 20 in a 4-week period. I only asked you for one. That's your 1 inch. Mm-hmm. If you push back from the table where you're normally getting 2 helpings of something, but you push back off one, That's your 1 inch.
Mhm.
1 inch in all directions. That's
Mhm.
all we have to do. We're not asking for a lot.
Mhm.
And the reason that the healing is in the hold is because she said, if you start a new habit, we want that habit to hold. And I keep doing like this because that's straight up and down. Because if you got a curvature in your back, now come on, let's stop playing games. If you're carrying too much weight, you are curving.
Yes.
Okay? You're curving in your shoulder area because your boobs are too big. You're curving in your belly area because you arch to push out. That's physiological. So when you can get to a point where you're releasing the weight, that's the healing in the hold. You start standing straighter because you
Alignment.
can.
Because you can. And you can. Oh, Christyna. So let's leave it at that. Let's thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Let's Talk. We've talked about stress, finances, and food. Reach out to Christyna. Reach out to me at I Am Brand New Now. If you didn't get Christyna's information, you can reach out to me. I'm happy to share it with you. Christyna, we want you to come back. Colleen, thank you so much for being the super moderator producer that you are. If you're watching, thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up for us. Thank you for showing up for yourself. And we're going to leave you tonight with you can.
You can.
You can.
You can.